Hey guys, Crew of Blindwave, I'm Eric.
I'm Calvin.
Calvin, we are watching Game of Thrones. We had a good episode yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a not bad episode yesterday.
And by that, Calvin means that nothing terrible happened. Not that he thinks most Game of Thrones is bad.
Yeah.
Yes. I always mean to say this, and I always forget. If you guys have never seen this before, I, Eric, have seen Game of Thrones and read all the books. Calvin has never seen it. So we're watching it for the first time. Well, he is watching for the first time. I'm watching him watch for the first time, and you guys are watching me and him. Me watching him for the first time, and you for the first time, me watching him for the first time. Right? I think I got that right. Damn.
Amazingly.
Yeah, I think I got it right. I'm getting good at this reaction thing. All right, so just real quick, Calvin, we got to do a very small recap. We had Dany take the second sons under her wing. Dragon wing?
Ah!
Dragons don't sound like that.
Caw! Caw! I wasn't doing caw.
You were kind of going caw. You were a C away from caw. All right.
Or
so,
K.
Yes, we had that. Dario Naharis, I think is his name. People give me so much shit for
mispronouncing
stuff.
names.
I
Come
know
on! Give
I
him
do.
a break.
They're fake. These aren't real words.
He knows the people. He knows the characters.
I learned all this stuff while reading, you know?
Yeah.
It's like it's like when you're reading Harry Potter and you think, Hermione. Okay, yeah, I like that name. And then you watch a movie, it's like, Hermione, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Hermione. I've heard a lot of people call her Hermione.
It's like Victor Crumb goes, Hermione. From the fourth book, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Last episode, we had a wedding. Dany, not Dany.
Not Dany.
She's been married once. Not married anymore. Sansa and Tyrion were married.
Yes.
Right? And they did not consummate the marriage because Tyrion had a little bit too much to drink, and
he made a promise.
Yeah, he did. He did. And
he's a stand-up guy.
Yeah, and Sansa, while she wasn't very warm to him, I still feel that she has a right to not be warm to anybody after the year she's had.
Yes.
So I think that's okay. Shay is not being very warm to Tyrion.
No.
But, she's a little jealous. We didn't talk about this last time, Calvin, after we watched the show, but we had Gendry.
Yeah, we keep forgetting about Gendry.
We do.
Poor boy.
The poor boy. He, as a demonstration of the power of King's blood, had blood taken from him. I mean, not without a reward. He got a little some.
He got a little some.
I mean, if I'm going to have my blood taken away and have some kind of blood ritual done.
Especially you having a lamprey or leech or whatever on your dick.
Yeah, I mean, at least he had something else on his dick before that happened, right? I mean, the Lord of Light giveth and taketh away.
Apparently.
Stannis Baratheon had 3 leeches, and he said a name of each what he considers usurper kings, which was Robb Stark, Balon Greyjoy, who has rebelled and is one of the kings. Remember we talked about the War of the 5 Kings?
Yeah.
Well, Renly's dead. So that's
right.
There's 4 kings. There's Stannis, there's Balon, there's Joffrey. He also said Joffrey, and there's Robb. So,
but he didn't mention the king north of the wall.
He
doesn't know about him.
No, well, I mean, there's rumors that there's the king north of the wall, but there happens to be a very huge wall in between. You know,
you don't say.
Yeah, you can't really call him a king of the 7 kingdoms because
he's outside of the
the 7 kingdoms, and there's an entire order of men meant to guard that thing, and the Southerners don't really concern themselves with what's going on north
of the wall,
except for the Starks usually do.
I mean,
but the Starks are
they kind of have
they're pretty occupied right now. There is one Stark though, or Stark by blood if not by name, that is doing that stuff. He's now south of the wall.
Yeah.
So we do have that. Another Stark that's near there is Bran and Rickon. 2 Starks.
Yeah.
Both believed dead, but not so. They have their direwolves with them. Jon doesn't. Ghost is with he kind of hangs around Sam, and then he kind of hangs around the Night's Watch. He kind of just goes where he wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So John is with shit. What the fuck's her name? Ygritte.
Ygritte. Yeah.
John's with Ygritte and with Tormund Giantsbane.
Yes.
I like that guy. No, it's only whenever you say you like somebody.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I feel cheated.
Yes. Robb Stark is heading towards the twins.
Yep.
Because
He's gonna marry his uncle.
Nope, he's not going to marry his uncle.
Off.
He's already married.
He's going to marry his uncle off.
Yes.
For an army.
Yeah, which he
Who
desperately
knew his uncle was that valuable?
Well, the Tully's a very powerful name. Catelyn is a Tully, you know, which we haven't seen a whole lot of Catelyn this season.
No.
I mean, I guess we kind of
we
have.
did.
A little tiny
I mean,
bit.
with her father, with her brother, with her uncle,
yeah,
and with Jamie, of course. All that business.
Yeah. Well, that stuff. I mean, that stuff kind of kicked off last season. But it's kind of went into it. Speaking of Jamie, we didn't see any Jamie last episode. But
no, we didn't.
I don't know. Well, maybe we'll catch back up with those guys.
They're in transit.
Yeah, they're in transit. It takes a while to walk all these places. The only person that can get everywhere lightning fast is Littlefinger, because every time we see him, he tends to be
somewhere else.
He seems to be in a new place that took everybody else months to get to.
Yeah, like 3 shows and he's already there.
Yeah. As the shows go on, they get a little lazy in terms of how long it takes to get someplace sometimes.
Yeah,
but that just happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, I think that's pretty much everything in terms of catching up. But we have an episode to watch. This is episode 9, and we're going to play it. Calvin, hit the button.
If Walder Frey cooperates.
If Walder Frey cooperates.
It's a big if.
I have come to make my apologies, my lord, and to beg your forgiveness.
It wasn't me you spurned, it was my girls.
It's a lot of girls.
My granddaughter Marianne, my granddaughter Freya, my granddaughter Werther, Walra, Waldina.
I'm married.
Fine.
Any man would be lucky to have any one of you. I did what I did not to slight you.
Don't guide her hand. Oh my gosh!
I have no interest in slaves. A man cannot make love to property.
Daggone it! Jorah's right there!
You're not gonna
Woman.
You're like a wizard.
Remember when he said, he's like, I always wanted to be a wizard.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Someone just called him a wizard.
Roads have gone right to hell, haven't they? Cracked 3 spokes this morning.
Need a hand.
Need about 8 hands. Oh. Gotta get this soul home to the twig.
Don't kill him.
I love how he helps him put his tire back on, then he's gonna kill him.
Dangerous, aren't you? Don't kill him. Please.
You're very kind. Someday it'll get you killed.
Knock him out again.
Old Nan said they turn your skull into a cup and make you drink your own blood from it. That's what old Nan said.
There's a storm coming.
Hodor.
Hodor doesn't like storms.
We can drink some blood while we wait. I don't need much.
This is why I'm okay with paying taxes. You don't have this shit going on anymore. You know what I'm saying?
She'd have got him if the tree.
She did it on purpose, though. She's a pretty good shot.
I like how they were built facing the same direction rather than facing opposite ways. They were meant as a barrier.
Someday, I'm going to put a sword through your eye and out the back of your skull.
He knows she means it. Hodor.
He does not like storms.
No, he doesn't.
It's just thunder, sweet giant.
Sweet giant.
Sweet giant.
Hold on! Make him shut up if they hear us.
Hush, hold on, no more hovering.
Hold on!
Yeah, more Hodor.
just did that with a person, though.
A simple person.
A simple person.
What did you do?
It was a person.
Nothing.
You understand. Let me stand at least. Let me go with a bit of dignity.
You're one of us now. Prove it.
Go on!
He'll stab us in the back first chance he gets.
Kill him!
They'll find us if you don't.
He's got 2!
You were right the whole time.
Grant will remember that. Oh, I love that. Ching chong, ding dang. Right there. Love it.
You sound racist.
Why?
Ching chong.
You're racist. I made that connection.
He's like, this is it.
Please, gods, please.
He's not hating that.
He was hiding a pretty one. See? You would have chosen
Yeah.
that one.
Until the end of my days.
Oh, Blackfish.
Say goodbye, Superman.
Make that sound every time you see a dire wolf.
So cool! Oh.
Their slave soldiers threw down their spears and surrendered.
And Dariana Harris?
Are you kidding me? I hate this guy.
If she had her way, I would be back in Volantis playing my harp, and you would be sitting over there eating blackberries out of Rosalind Frey's hand.
Perhaps I've made a terrible mistake. Striking your king is an act of treason. Boy or girl?
I don't know. But if it's a boy, I know what we should name him.
Oh, do you? It seems to me the father should have some say in his son's naming.
Eddard.
Your Grace, I've given you meat and wine and music, but I haven't shown you the hospitality you deserve. My king has married, and I owe my new queen a wedding gift. already swore me one oath right here in my castle.
Rob, get up! Get up and walk out! Please! Please! On my honor as a Tullich, on my honor as a Stark, let him go, or I will cut your wife's throat.
I'll find another.
Mother. The Lannisters send their regards.
That's what it takes to get it. I don't want it.
I know. It's not easy to watch. I think I've seen this 3 or 4 times. It's never easy to watch. Did you expect that to happen?
Not all of it.
Yeah. Remember what Karstark said before he died when they were on the road? You lost the war the day you married that girl. Remember when he said that? There's a lot to think about, and we're gonna let you think about that. Aaron, you want to jump in? Yeah, we're gonna have Aaron jump in.
Hi, guys.
Anyway, Aaron, we brought you in because we knew that Calvin was going to be a little upset watching this episode, as we all were. So while he kind of collects his thoughts, what were your thoughts when you first saw this?
I was sitting over there watching this, and this was the second time I think I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
I think I've only seen it the one time. Like, it's not something I usually was like, I want to watch this episode again.
Yeah, I know.
You know? But my wife knew about it. I think in the back of my mind when I was watching it, I kind of knew it happening because at one point she was talking to me about the books.
Yeah.
And she came to me crying, and she's like, I have no one to talk to. I gotta tell somebody.
Yeah.
And I wasn't fully prepared for it whenever I watched it.
You're not supposed to.
Like, characters have died in the series, but I don't feel like that many that fast, you know, like that drastically has happened. But
I mean, deaths have always been tragic in this show, but that one probably the most of all. One, because it's just sad in general. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're seeing the Starks being ripped apart, you know? In this episode, especially, Bran and Rickon were ripped apart in this episode, you know? Also, it's sad because if you pay attention and you watch for the clues, you can see it coming. It's just so well done, I'll say. It's the clues are so well hidden that you can't see them until you look at it again.
Isn't the music that they play right before his little speech
it's the
like
Lannister song. It's called The Reigns of Castamere.
Yeah.
Calvin, we learned about that last episode. It's a song that was written about Tywin Lannister destroying a family called
House of Rains.
House of Rains, yes. Yeah, it's the audible clue that once that thing starts playing, you know something's wrong.
Something's going on.
Yeah, Catelyn, she could sense something was wrong at that point.
It sucks because, like, in season 1, you learn about this family, the Starks, and you learn to love them. And then, like, as you've gone through season 2 and then 3, you're watching them be ripped apart, and you think that something's going to happen and come together, and there's a King of the North happening, and then this all happens, and you're like, well, what? What about the Starks?
I know.
I
Now,
love the Starks.
I understand. Now the thing is that it's I gotta mention when I first read it, because I read the books first. I watched the first episode and then I read all the books. But I was actually at the beach with my family when I was reading this book, which is A Storm of Swords. I think it happens halfway through the book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think it'd be like the end of a book.
No, it happens halfway through, and I was at the beach, and I was so mad. Or actually, no, I won't even say mad. I was so in denial that I thought I had misread it. I went to the next page, and I'm like, what's this? And I just started skimming through the rest of the book because I'm like, I'm only halfway through. This didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I got so mad that I threw the book in the sand and didn't read for the rest of the trip. I'm like, I'm done. I'm too upset.
I was gonna say you threw it like you just threw it in the ocean or something. Like,
It comes back to
no,
no
way. You come out the next morning and stay on the beach. Like, damn it!
But eventually I just had once I got over it, not over it. I probably still haven't gotten over it. But once I felt the pull of well, I gotta know what happens next.
Yeah.
Which Calvin, you might not be feeling right now just because it's so shocking, but there's a lot that this is something that's gonna resonate.
The other thing that you fear about when you're watching this too is Arya is so close to finally getting back to her family, and then that stuff starts happening, and not only is she seeing things kind of happen. From what I understand in the book, Melanie was saying she gets to a door or something like that, actually sees Catelyn and them, right? Is that what it is?
She might as well. She gets so close.
But she got so close, but all that's happening, and no, don't let her get closer. Yeah. Get her away, and then the Hound.
The Hound saves her. Now, the Hound, he's always been a morally great character, but he didn't have to go in and do that.
Didn't he protect Sansa from a rape or something like that? Yeah.
But you could say that he did that because Sansa was Joffrey's fiance. But I do believe that the Hound is, he doesn't like to be called a knight. He doesn't want to have the responsibilities of a knight, even though people thrust it upon him. Mm-hmm. But he stands in the shadow of his brother, and I think that he tries to be good despite being a Clegane.
Yeah.
So anyway,
wasn't he taking her for a ransom or something?
He was taking her for ransom.
Okay, I was trying to remember what I was when I was watching this episode. I'm like, what was his motivation? It had to have been a ransom, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now he has her. Who's he gonna get a ransom from?
But he was also going to take Sansa with him too.
Yeah. And
you can say that he probably would have ransomed her off as well. But it's kind of like what the Brotherhood Without Banner said when they gave Gendry to Melisandre. They were like, look, yeah, we're doing it for gold, but we're doing it for the Lord of Light too. We're doing it because we think it's right, and if we can get money, that would be good as well. So
the gods love us, and we have money.
Yes.
All right.
Anyway, Calvin, how you doing? Not good?
Pretty quiet.
Yeah. Well, I knew this was going to happen. That's why we had Aaron come over. Because I was the same way. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be wanting to hear what Calvin has to say about it. If we don't get it today, we'll get it next time.
Yeah, episode 10 coming up, right?
Episode 10.
Yeah.
The one thing to say about this is remember what that guy that's torturing Theon, right? What's he say? He said, if you expect there to be a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention. I got some stuff to talk about, but are you going to be able to talk this time, Calvin, or should we wait?
I'll try.
Yeah. I'd feel kind of bad. Well, not just because obvious-wise, but I led you a little astray when we were talking about Roose Bolton, didn't I? I didn't say anything that was necessarily false. I was very specific in what I said. From a certain point of view, true.
All right, Obi-Wan.
But, yes. But, I thought it was important that, he's a huge player that doesn't necessarily get a lot of screen time. And I think that seeing the betrayal of Roose Bolton and Walder Frey through the eyes of Robb was very important, because it's something that you kind of miss a tiny bit when watching the show compared to the book, and I wanted to make sure that we got that. So I apologize for doing that, but the viewers sure enjoyed it.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel cruel. Not as cruel as George R.R. Martin. Do you understand why he has his reputation? Yeah.
People just die left.
Do you understand why people don't like episode 9s? Or really like episode 9s?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was season 2, episode 9?
It was the Battle of Blackwater.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who died in that?
Well, no one necessarily died.
I
It was
can't
just a
think of
really
anyone
awesome
dying.
episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can't name anyone dying. That was a cool episode, though.
Yeah. It was, for its time, one of the most expensive episodes of television ever.
Really?
Yeah. Until Game of Thrones came back.
Until the next season.
Until next season. They made a point. I'm just going to go through my stuff, Calvin. If you have something to chip in, you can. Aaron, you can.
Yeah.
They made a point in the beginning of the episode to show Walder Frey giving food to the Starks and the Stark men. That's called guest right. Once you've shared bread or broken bread with somebody under your house, it's a sacred vow or a sacred law that they are treated as your family. They're treated as, more than your family, really. They're supposed, once you've broken bread and the hospitality of this tradition of Westeros, it can't be broken. Walder Frey broke it. It's one of the reasons the Starks were so unguarded, because no one would ever do that.
Because they broke bread.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
You should have just not broken bread.
I know. Well, he did.
He's a I don't know.
They also don't really come out and say this in the show, but Grey Wind, the direwolf, who's been with Robb
and they locked up and shot with arrows.
Well, Walder Frey or somebody, I'm not sure. In the book, they insist that they lock him up because he's scaring people, because he's irate and he's angry, and he's untrustworthy of the phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know why.
Mm-hmm.
But they insisted, and because Robb was kind of a disadvantage for...
Yeah, because already the whole...
He's already dissed them once,
wedding
He's
thing
like, all right,
like
we'll do that, And that just kind of goes right into the plan. I'm going to get some of the Red Wedding stuff out of the way. The Blackfish left before... Yeah, Catelyn's uncle. Would it be Catelyn's uncle? He left before the massacre. Also, Edmure was at the bedding ceremony, right? So those two of the party are not dead. At least that's something.
They could be in on it.
I don't think so. Little cameo. One of the members of Coldplay played one of the band guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was he the one going to...
He was one of them. I'm not sure which one he was.
One actually playing the song?
It seems not appropriate to talk about now, but I do like Roose Bolton's story about how when Frey, he was going to marry one of Frey's daughters, and Frey said, look, I need to get rid of daughters. If you take one of my daughters, I'll give you her weight in silver. So he picked the fattest one.
I'll take that one.
Yes.
Yes.
Walda Frey. Or
Walda?
Walda Bolton now. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to a little... actually, Calvin, you pointed this out. Who's the guy with the mustache? That's more of a cameo. It's a character that wasn't there at the time. They didn't really focus him on the TV show other than like a good close-up. I think he's a Manderley, which is another North house.
Okay.
And they will come into play much later in the story. But it's important that we saw a Manderley at what, Calvin, I'm sure you've heard this before, but at the Red Wedding. Now, you've told me before that before we started watching Game of Thrones, someone was like, oh yeah, the Red Wedding, that scene or something like that, right? What happened there?
I got it. He had just said that it was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't really go into characters or anything like that.
Yeah, that was really the one thing that you knew about it.
You didn't know this episode was the Red Wedding, though, did you?
I didn't know the episode.
Yeah. So whenever you told me that, I thought like, okay, well, Calvin will probably be wary whenever there's weddings happening, right?
Yeah, I was.
I mean,
but I didn't expect it to be that way.
And you might not have noticed it, Calvin, but I meticulously led you in conversations to try to stop the speculation sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's the best acting I've ever done in my life. When I was talking
That's
about...
what our viewers said,
When I was talking about Roose Bolton. That I kept a straight face. But, I think it's worth it. I'm sorry. but I think it's worth it. But yeah, we did all talk about, like, because I said when we first got that pen, we opened it. I said, Calvin, when you earned this, I'll give it to you. And you were like, well, what point will you give it to me?
You're like, I know.
I said, I know exactly when I'm going to give it to you, and our viewers know exactly when we're going to give it to you. And as you guys know, Calvin doesn't read the comments, but all the comments were like, we all know. And it is a steep price, but Vala Mugales.
There's some other cool stuff though that happened that wasn't Red Wedding.
There was.
Not that the Red Wedding was cool, but
no, it was not cool. I mean, to be fair, it's one of the most memorable moments of all time when it comes to television.
Yeah.
You know, those of us that read the books, and people that read the books far before I did, we all knew this was coming. So this is the episode that everybody filmed their friends and family watching. And now you can find 1 million reactions to it, and this is the latest one. And I know Calvin pretty well now. Calvin, we've been friends now for what, like 2.5, 3 years?
3.5.
3.5. I know that whenever you're excited about something, you're very animated in reaction. I know when something's affecting you, you don't react much at all. But I personally find that more interesting to watch because I feel like, with the other reactions I've seen of this thing, it's all, oh, and people screaming and crying, But that does not speak to me as much as somebody that's speechless and doesn't know what to do.
I thought Calvin was going to break his pin here because he was like sitting here, he's like just fiddling with it.
Yep.
Like,
Took everything I had not to just get up and leave as soon as the episode ended.
Yeah, that's another thing to think about too. I mean, I threw the book into the ocean. No, Aaron, I'm assuming that you were very upset as well.
I think I watched it first time was with either Melanie at our house or it wasn't when I lived with you, was it?
No.
It had been after that, so it had to have been at the Phillips shoot. Man, I
But
just remember being like, what?
Yeah. But, I mean, for a lot of people, I won't say a lot, but for a select few amount of people, this was the show that I can't watch this anymore,
Yeah, they're like, I'm done.
Yeah. But the only thing I'll say to that is that in stories and in life in general, you have to have the terrible times to appreciate the good times.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones doesn't have a whole lot of good times.
Nah,
but when it happens,
you appreciate them so
you
much more.
You appreciate them. Yeah, I very much think that. So anyway, we're gonna have to push through the bad times and get to the good times and more bad times and more good times.
Well,
but
like Bran controlling direwolves.
Well, yeah, Bran and Hodor.
And controlling Hodor.
He controlled Hodor. Now, remember, Calvin, I said this a long time ago. If Hodor was sane or whole, he would be the most terrifying man in all 7 kingdoms because he's bigger than the mountain. Kinda. He might be like the same size.
Yeah,
and the mountain's feared countrywide. But if you can put a remote control antenna on Hodor, that's some artillery. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's important to say that. When Bran was warging into Hodor, the other warg with the wildlings kind of gave a look like... I couldn't tell. I mean, he says that he just heard something, but it kind of, to me, it looked like he could sense something was happening too. Like maybe the wargs are tapping into the same magic or force or something, and that he could sense something was happening there. He just was confused by it.
Maybe. I mean, I know whenever it flipped to him, you could kind of hear Hodor, like kind of very quietly in the background.
But another thing to point out is Jon killed him, but he warged right before he died, and his consciousness went into his bird. His body dies, his consciousness doesn't. That guy is technically still alive.
Can he get out?
No, because he has the mind of a bird.
So he's just stuck in that bird.
He's stuck. Yeah,
I think that'd be worse than dying.
It might. He can't think as a human anymore. Like when you're in an animal, you think like an animal, you know, and then you can bring yourself back. But when you've severed that connection, now you're that animal.
Now
you know,
he's just a bird.
Yeah. So, but it's still an interesting.
So
thought.
here in like a season or two, maybe he dives down, starts pecking on Jon Snow. Like,
I mean, it's good to point out like that bird wasn't attacking Jon Snow for vengeance, like, you've killed my master! You know? That was literally him attacking Jon Snow.
Oh, did he attack him in this one?
Yeah.
The bird did? Okay,
yeah.
I missed that part then.
Yeah.
Did he kill the bird? Or did the bird fly away?
The bird flew away. The bird scratched him up really good and flew away.
That's another thing too. Is like in this episode you had.
I know, right?
Calvin hates birds.
Should have been your last episode with all the birds from when Sam killed the White Walker.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a good part.
Yeah.
This episode too, like you had Arya get so close to Robb and Catelyn, and then you also had Jon so close to Bran and Rickon.
Yeah.
Like, I hate so much when that kind of stuff happens. Where like you want like characters to meet and they get so close together and then they don't. It irks me.
I mean, the thing that really comes with this show is that yes, it sucks, but think about that reaction that you're having. That's how much you care about this story and those characters.
Yeah.
You know, if I watched a movie that I had no idea who they were and I saw this scene, I'd be like, well, that's very violent. But
yeah, right.
But when I watch it and I see those characters that, you know, Robb, the King of the North, who's never lost a battle military-wise, was killed at a wedding.
Yeah.
You know?
So cheap.
And, you know, we got to also point out that he said the Lannisters send their regards. You know? So, Tywin Lannister, he's very good at the Game of Thrones. And we'll probably...
It seems so dirty.
It is dirty, but...
I would say Cersei did it.
Yeah. Well, Jaime was the last person to talk to Bolton. But the idea is that did Bolton... I don't know. We'll have to just watch the next episode, because I have some things that I could say, but we should let the characters say them.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. The last thing I really have, and this is completely unrelated to anything else, is that Daria uses a curved hook blade like the Dothraki use.
Yeah.
I think it's called an Urk or something like that. And I like the look of it and stuff, but one, it does not lead itself to good choreography, I don't feel like. And two, there's no way in hell it could pierce armor with a curved blade like that. Curves, you know, a curved blade is made for cutting.
Like the actual
Slashing.
the actual point of it, or you mean like is he?
I don't think you can get very good leverage with the point, and I mean it's very good for fighting from horseback when you can have like a lot of momentum built up, you know. But you know, Jorah with his straight sword, you know, that's made for piercing armor, you know. So it's just one of my things where I'm like, the aesthetic of the blade.
What Arya's
I like more than actually ever using it.
Needle.
Yeah.
Needle.
Well, that's made for piercing too.
Yeah, I like that one.
Maybe not. I mean, it's Castle Forge steel, but maybe not.
Might not be
hard
strong.
armor. Yeah. But
I don't know. It'd have a small little area you could just.
Well,
bodkin point is the same principle.
Yeah. You got to be quick. Yep.
I think Arya, especially Melanie, like really felt on this one because season 1 you have her right there when Eddard dies.
Yeah,
and then she gets so close to getting to her brother and her mom, and then they die. And
so it's no wonder that her entire character has become about vengeance and
like she turned so much from season 1 into what she what's happened season 2 to season 3 that she's just like, I'm gonna stab you in the eye and out the back of your skull.
Yep.
You know?
I know. And she's like 10.
Yeah.
But we gotta remember too who our mentors have been. We've had, I mean, when it comes to mentors, she's had the First Sword of Bravos, Syrio Forel.
Mm-hmm.
She's had Jaqen H'ghar. Mm-hmm. She's now in the possession of the Hound. You know, when it comes to people to learn at the feet from, it's not a bad roster.
Yeah.
You know,
they're all good fighters.
Yeah, they're all very good fighters, and they're all very different fighters.
What's her issue with the Hound exactly?
The Hound,
he hasn't really been that awful to her.
No, he has. The Hound in the second episode, The King's Road of season 1.
Oh, okay.
The Hound kills the butcher's boy, who was blamed for hitting Joffrey, and that's a criminal offense. You die when that happens, right? So the Hound killed him, but Arya did it, you know, and Joffrey just lied about it. He wasn't going to admit that a girl hit him, you know. So it's like, yeah, this bigger boy hit me, you know. And the Hound, following orders as the prince's sworn shield, wrote him down and killed him, and that's what made Arya to put him on his list. Yeah. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything. Obviously, we got a lot to think about. Calvin will come back next week. We'll have a week to really digest, and I'm sure you'll be able to speak a little more and a little more clear and organize your thoughts. But this is a day that a lot of people have waited for, and you sons of bitches, you made him do it.
You guys did this.
Yep.
Yo.
But it's always darkest before the dawn, right?
Calvin never comes back to the YouTube channel. He's just gone.
He just
like, fuck this. Flips a table, just leaves. No.
Just takes your shield truck and never comes back.
I was so close.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna cheer ourselves up by opening some packages from our P.O. box. I'm sure there's some Game of Thrones stuff in there because it's always Game of
Calvin's
Thrones.
like, fuck this. I don't want this shit anymore.
So we're gonna try to rise above those feelings and open some stuff. So make sure you guys are watching out for those videos, checking that stuff out. It might have already been up. Maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna try to get this up early, put it on the site. I don't know. We'll see. Yep. Blindwave.net. Make sure you guys go there. You can go down in the description to find all the links to our social media. If you'd like to send a sympathy card to Calvin, you can do that at P.O. Box 304, Marietta, Ohio 45750. A few amount of people have already said that they're doing that. I know that Agent 79 has already sent one, but it hasn't come yet. So maybe next episode, which will be episode 10, next Saturday, we'll open a couple of those.
It's like a pile like this.
Yeah, we'll open a couple of those before we watch. So make sure you guys, if you're interested in doing that, you can send those to the address that you can find down in the description. While you're down there, you can hit the subscribe button and the like button, and you can come back next weekend for the finale of Season 3 and the premiere of Season 4. I'm Eric. That's Calvin.
I'm Aaron.
And we'll see you guys later. Aaron, hit the button for Calvin.
Calvin, I'm sorry. Well, I'm glad I was here then.
Yeah. I know.